I'm being a bit Abe, actually, I think. I'm going rogue.
She's going rogue.
She's going rogue.
This is a crazy position to do the point. You should do the rest of the pod.
I'm going to stand like this a little bit.
Is it cooler like that?
It's a little bit cooler. It's giving my mental state, because like I'm half out.
You guys watch Stranger Things?
I did watch Stranger Things.
I haven't yet, no.
You like it?
Me?
Yeah.
Season 4, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it.
I similarly also enjoyed it.
That's very good.
You're very good.
I still haven't seen Nope.
No, I need to see Ope.
Nice.
I might see it later, actually.
Is it?
I would recommend Bullet Train.
Is it?
Yeah.
Surprisingly good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was also good.
God damn it.
God damn. Yeah, Bullet Train was surprisingly good, actually.
Is it?
Very much enjoyed it.
Shall we pod?
I think we already are.
Probably should.
This is the pod, guys.
It's a buttonless pod.
Have you guys seen The Grey Man with
Oh, I thought that sucked.
Really?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Did you?
Yeah, because it was like, I knew it was going to be shit.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, for me, like, I like Ryan Gosling anyway, but I felt like Chris Evans really played up to that kind of shit role.
Yeah, I think it was fun in the same way like watching like an amateur play would be fun.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of enjoy, like, you're like,
Yes.
oh, that was a laugh. Also, Ana de Armas, she gets my viewership anytime she's in anything.
Who?
Ana de Armas.
Ana de Armas.
Have you seen James Bond, the latest one?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen...
She is fire.
What's the robot film that she's in?
Oh, Blade Runner?
That's the one.
Oh, Anna.
Have you seen The Skin I Live In?
Nope.
The Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
It's old, but it's very, very good.
Never seen it.
So good.
What did I watch? What was that film with Matt Damon and where he's a young boy and he goes to The Talented Mr. Ripley?
Mm-hmm. I've not seen that. I want to read it as well.
My God, is it one of the best films I've seen?
Is it?
It's and it's like, what, 20 years old, and it holds up, man. It's really good.
That's what this pod is now, guys.
Film reviews.
We review films. You tuned in for the dance, but we've pivoted, and we now do... Now I'm questioning if I even pushed record on the camera. Pretty sure I did.
You want to have a just double check quickly?
Can
Shall
you
I do it?
double check?
Just
Yeah.
double check. No buttons.
I was thinking I'm going to cut that, but now I saw that catch. I might not cut it.
No buttons.
No, Sophia's not here. Sophia!
Why is it so far? Can it not be on the table?
No, because the reason last time it fucked up,
Yeah.
because of that extension lead, so now it's pressed in, and now it's in the plug.
You're glowingly.
Am I?
Yeah.
Are you pregnant?
Your face looks lovely.
You do look lovely today.
Do I?
Yeah.
It's because I left my mustache thicker. I look like a pirate.
Yeah, there is something different going on. What's
Is it? I
The
shaved.
hair?
I shaved the side and the face, and then I lifted my hair up, and then I washed, which makes a big
Chef's
difference.
kiss, mate. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Beautiful man.
Ratatouille.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Capsule. I don't know when this pod started for you, but for us, it's been going for a while. I will decide later in the edit
Hunger.
which point it started, but yeah. Hope everyone's good. So much and so little to talk about. I've simultaneously a million things and nothing to talk about. How are you two this week?
Yeah, good.
Good.
I'll let Talladega go first.
How are you guys feeling? How's life? in
Good.
general?
I've had quite an overwhelming week. Not Monday to Wednesday. If I look at the past 7 days, it's been quite overwhelming in good and bad ways. Hopefully good moving forward. But yeah, it's been eventful.
Lovely, lovely, jubbly. How about you? Any eventful events?
Yeah, some
Eventful events.
Some eventful events.
Lovely.
Met some peanuts along the way. Had some good stuffs happen. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. Oh yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw. Obviously, I got accepted into the other art fair again.
I did see. That's dope. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would hit the applause button, but Sophia's not here.
Aw.
Sophia!
Press it in post.
Yeah. No.
And but I told them I'm not going to do it
Oh,
So you won't
why?
see me there in October.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was
Yeah.
a roller coaster of a story.
Yeah.
What happened?
So basically, because it's in October, that would give me from now just under 2 months to have everything done that I want done.
Yeah.
And when I went to the fair in July, it was really cool as I got to really show off the dance side of it to people, and that people were really impressed by the work, but the presentation, the stand curation was a bit poor in it.
Of yours.
Yeah, for me, because it was first time in it. I didn't really know what the deal was or whatever. But I took loads of notes. I learned loads of stuff, and now to go back into the fair, because it costs like you're looking $1,600 to $2,000 just to be in, like just to participate,
Right.
which is cool to get the money. But if I'm doing that, then it's
It'll be worth it. You got to sell us more than that.
Well, for me, like I'm confident I will sell next time I go in there,
Right.
but only if I go in there the way that I want to go in there. And that's yours. Yeah, that's for Tali there. There, beyond.
Oh, thank you.
And and basically to be able to kind of organize everything that I want to do, it would I'd compromise on the work, and I don't want to do that. So
Fair enough. That makes sense.
so I want to go in there full guns blazing. So I'm going to apply again for the March one.
Okay. So are you a bit more confident now you've got into 2 that you're like, all right, now I don't have to like stress about being in it. I just have to. Do you know what I mean? Because before it was kind of like I don't even know if I'm going to get in. But now that you've got accepted for 2, it's like, all right, well, I know I can get in. Now I need to take care of what actually happens once I'm in.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's like, you know, like thing like when you're a young dancer or whatever, you kind of like, we mentioned it kind of off pod a little bit, like you want to jump at all opportunities, and you fold a little bit and compromise in places where you don't really want to, but just for the opportunity to do things. And then like when you're older, you understand the kind of the power of that. So you're like, all right, cool. Like I can compromise here a bit there. So I tried for like a year to build my work and myself to get into that fair.
Yep.
And then afterwards I was like, all right, cool, like that. And then there was a couple of other things like the fair again and something else that I was applying for. And I was like, actually, I don't need to kind of prove this to anyone else again. Now I can just go in there and do a better job. And I think, but it was like, it got me thinking, man, like I really wish like I kind of understood that about myself in dance a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a life skill, isn't it? To like be at a place where you can not compromise on what you want to do and learn to say no to stuff. And
It's not your worth, innit?
Yeah, I think it's hard because especially at the beginning when you're young, you kind of feel like there's never going to be another opportunity if you turn this one down. And then you kind of get older and you're like, oh no, there's plenty more things.
Yes.
And I'm only doing something if it makes me happy or makes me money. Hopefully both.
Do you think that's a bit like a bit maybe counterintuitive is the wrong word, but maybe a bit odd that in your 20s you kind of feel like you could take less risks with stuff like that, and then when you get older you understand how to calculate those risks a little better?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with like, you know, in the same way that kind of life seems like it goes faster the older you get, but it's not that it goes faster, obviously, but it's more about like 1 year is a
relativity.
It's like a smaller percentage of your life the longer you've lived. So I feel like it's kind of like that. You're like, right, let's say you're 20, you've only been even remotely an adult for 5 years.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, in 5 years I get offered one opportunity. That's like a big thing compared to how long but then if you're like 35, 40, you're like, right, I've been dancing for 20 years. I've been offered this many opportunities. So each opportunity feels less.
What a brilliant,
do you know what I mean?
Brilliant viewpoint,
And even if it's like a lot of money, it's like, you know, getting offered $1,000 for a job now compared to when I was 20 and there was less thousands coming my way in total. Now it's like, all right, that's still significant, but it is worth way less to me than it was when I was 18, you know? But yeah, but I think it kind of, I think relates to that saying of like youth is wasted on the young. Like, it's kind of like you have more time to say no to stuff and do the stuff, but you don't know that you can. And then you're older, you have less time left in your career, but you also now have the confidence and the understanding to say no.
Yeah.
But then also you don't get to this point in your career without fucking up when you're younger. So I don't know. It's all a fucking mess, innit?
That's why I like listening to older peeps that are like 50, 60, 70 or whatever. And they're like, yeah, you're when you're 30, you're still young.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I didn't listen to you at 20. I'm listening to you now. You know?
Yes.
Like, you're right.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's true. And also, you know what I always think is like, you know, when you get to like, let's say me now, I'm like almost 33, and you think, oh, I've lived 30 years and then I've got another, let's say like another 30 until I'm 60 or whatever. But it's like, I actually not that I didn't live 30 years, but I haven't really done anything exciting until I was like 20, like maybe 18, let's say. So like the first fucking 10 years of my life, I was barely existing. I was just, what does mum want me to do? Like, where's my food? Like, I didn't really, that's not really anything. I mean, it's valuable, but it doesn't count as like an adult life. And then your teen, sort of, let's say from 10 to 20, you're kind of just fucking around growing up to be, for me, like from 20 to 30, I did a lot of stuff, but also didn't really find my way, and I wasn't really who I wanted to be, and I was figuring shit out. And I feel like at 30, I started to kind of figure out who I am. So now it's like, if what I've been living for the last 3 years, I have another 30 of those, like in my professional life, let's say, like that's sick. It's not like what I've been doing for the last 30 years that's going to happen again. It's like this very tail end is what's going to be another 30. So actually it's longer than you would think, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Life is long and short at the same time. Is my point.
Life is both.
So we've achieved nothing so far. Are you guys interested in tuning in to any of the summer dance?
Yeah.
I
interested?
really wanted to go.
In it.
I don't know
Why?
That you're going to tune in?
that I'm going to tune in.
Why is that?
Just depends what I've got going on, quite honestly.
That's also
a
fair.
very dense mind at the minute.
What you got going on?
So much and so little.
Both.
Both. Everything and nothing.
Both of them.
Everything everywhere, all at once. Not that much situationally. I think I've been spat out of quite monumental occasions. Like I hosted some workshops last
How did that go?
week. So incredibly well. But there was like, it was insanely hot in the room. Like
I feel that now.
insanely hot. I feel that now as well. And it's so strange. Maybe we're having like an existential pod today, but I had a bit of a meltdown when I got home that evening. Just because I work so hard on like cultivating a certain, like it's just me doing all of this stuff. And like I work so hard to make it certain kind of stuff. And then something out of my control went wrong. And I realized, even though the past year I have been acutely aware of this, that like I don't have anyone to call and like moan to about this, like business wise. Of course I can whinge at my friends, but I don't have anyone to like put this literal fire out with me, for me. No, it was just so hot.
Yeah, so you don't have employees, you don't have business associates.
Yeah, like what am I supposed to do? Like I knew what to do, but I just found it quite overwhelming in that moment. Just like, it's just me doing all of this. Like even the agency, it's just me. I have colleagues, but they're outside, like they know what the tasks are or the projects are on the table, but like I just don't have anyone to turn to professionally. And I was like, and whilst my friend was holding space for me in the most incredible way, and I'll thank him forever because I really did go through it, I was also like, I'm just crying because it was hot in the studio. Like on the surface, it's really nothing.
Yeah, but it's like
but it's everything at the same time. It was just so much. But then also, just like, again, it being just me, it was the second iteration of
I'm going headphoneless.
I being delivered by someone that isn't me, or like just not offloading it, but like allowing it to grow outside of my body and mind and mouth. And that was quite a big,
Who was the first
overwhelming
one?
as well. Larkin.
Oh
Boynton,
yeah, that was it.
But I'd say we are in more similar realms market wise,
right.
And Kerry Milne and Caitlin Watson, very much as people and minds we are aligned, but I think who they attract was very different. And so it's just like letting go of a babe a little bit, and it's just so long answer.
Are you working towards a model where you're not delivering any of it, or are you working towards something where this is an offshoot of the main?
Can I piggyback on the back of that? Because I have a very like similar question that I'd like to ask slightly differently. So just
I've got a better one than you.
I want to say it more better.
You just asked the exact same question I just asked. It was like,
have you got an offshoot of a planner?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, really similar to this. Like, because I was going to ask you about the idea of changing your service into a product. Because obviously, as a service, you can only sell or do as
Can
much.
I piggyback on your thing?
Hell, go.
Am I going to be able to
He's
answer
done, do
any
it.
of
I'll
them?
piggyback to you and then you turn it into your question.
Let's go do it.
I was watching a business podcast that really like blew my mind with something super simple. I'm sure
Go
I
on.
spoke to you about it.
Here we go.
But they were saying, because I was looking at like, how the fuck do I scale any of what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, was saying to Kieran, I think we spoke about this, but I'm getting a bit more materialistic as I get older, and I'm like, I want to make some more money. But it's like, how do you scale your thing? And I think it's built into like art and stuff. But what they were saying is, you can't scale a small business until you decouple the idea of your time equaling your income. So
Yes.
as long as your time is linked with your income, you only can do so much because,
Yeah.
and I was talking to Steph B about this, where it's like we get to a certain amount. Me and Steph were talking in front of someone who's a very experienced business person, and we were saying, look, we get to a certain amount where we can't do any more in a week. So then when someone calls up and says, can you do this job on Thursday, and I'm booked, what do? I call Joe and I say, or whoever,
You can
and I
have
say,
it.
do you want, I give away the job? And the guy looked at me like I was a fucking idiot. And he was like, no, you don't, like, what are you doing? Like, learn
What
to,
does he think you should do in that?
well, learn to be basically he's saying, oh, thank you.
Is it a bug?
Hair.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Shut
Basically what you're saying is I should have a business and I hire Joe. So I'm still making money off work that comes to me.
Yes,
It's not like I'm
yes,
stealing
yes.
Joe's work. It's like someone wants me, I can't do it. If I physically can't do it, I should hire someone and I should have a business structure in place so that I can still make money off work that's coming my
Yes.
way based on my reputation,
Yes,
rather than
yes,
just going
yes.
take that. Because then what happens is also a lot of the people, and I wouldn't recommend someone if I didn't think they were competent and good. So anyone that I recommend, chances are they're going to do a good job, and then the person is going to go back to them next time instead of coming back to me.
Yeah.
But if I hire whoever, then they're going to come back to me and say,
Yes.
we really liked Joe, or whoever, can you bring him in again or whatever? And then now, rather than Joe making money, me and Joe are making money. Joe's still getting paid his full fee, and I'm also making money, and the world goes round.
That's IP. You can't take it.
Exactly. So anyway, all that to say is this is a whole thing I'm kind of thinking about now.
Yeah.
Is like, how do you decouple my physical time? And now, especially with something like podcasting, with doing the capsule stuff, with filming, videography, pictures, how do I decouple my income from my time and then scale that? Because as soon as you start creating art, let's say if you paint a picture and then sell prints, those prints can sell, and you don't have to spend any additional time working. You just, or maybe very minimal time.
Well, this is so now. I guess
Sorry,
we're just
yeah.
playing leapfrog now.
Yeah, go.
So this is that mentality is. I got shown that like just a couple of years ago as well. Like it's real recent, and someone put it in a really simple way of just saying, "Cool, just split your time between service and product. So your time equaling your money is your service,
Yeah.
and then your product is where
The
it's
thing that can sell without you.
Exactly. So for me, it is prints. That's the next phase, because it's like just in a very short term, that's where the art is going next, of being able to basically make it available for people to be able to buy fine art from me without needing to spend hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, because it's just not feasible.
They call it passive income, isn't it? Like, you
Yeah,
don't have to do
passive
anything.
income streams. So that was what that's where my question was going to go to you, Tals, was like, have you found a way to turn III into a product? Because I was going to put forward a couple of things of saying like the actual, obviously I'm sure it's changed since we came to the first one. Oh no. All right.
It kind of hasn't though, has it?
He's like, I'm sure you've built it and worked on it and changed it. He's like, well, it's kind of the same thing. I thought it was working fine. He's like, I'm sure you've changed all the rubbish that we had to go through.
No, a couple of exercises have fallen away, but it is actually largely the same.
Fantastic. All right, cool. So which is brilliant, right? Yeah, but I mean,
debatable. I think it's got better. But like I see what you're saying. It's the same
fundamentals
thing,
yeah.
but you've got better at delivering it and figured out what, like, you're cutting to the core of what those exercises are, and you've streamlined stuff. So I do think it has, even if the structure hasn't changed.
That was the changes I meant. Like fundamentally, like the principle of it works really well, right? So you have this really cool idea that doesn't necessarily need to be executed by you all the time, right? So there are a few really good teachers in the dance scene that we all have access to, that you could maybe decide whether or not they're suitable for III. But something that I remember I learned ages ago when teaching was that you may not be the person for everyone. So you may have a really good idea, but there are some people that can really benefit from it, but they just can't benefit from it if you tell them the idea, you know? So I was wondering, all of that saying, like, have you thought of how to kind of keep III growing and scale it and expand it without you needing to stretch yourself across it all?
I think the deep dive, which is the brand for the other people delivering it, is that. And now that I've got assistance, because at the minute it still feels important for me to be there,
Right.
and like open it, not by facilitating a session, but just like putting my energy and words into the space and then being like, teachers, here you go. But what I am landing on after the 2 that I've done is that it's exposing the III community to like my teachers in inspirations, but then it also gets people in the room that are maybe only used to the 90-minute class structure, and then because it's a teacher they're comfortable with or in awe of, that's more comfortable and palatable for them. But then also it's giving teachers and that are maybe only used to a 90-minute class structure an opportunity to see what a longer session looks like for them. So there's lots happening that doesn't need me. Financially, I think the payment structure for it all is going to remain the same, whoever the teachers are. Like, it will be between like 100 and 150 for the 2 days, and with a 40 capacity room, which I think is the max that I'd want, whatever size the room was, I end up with like making 500 plus out of that, which isn't bad.
That's after paying the teachers and stuff.
Yeah.
Sick.
That's good.
That's just like 10% off the profits after the costs have been met. And then the teachers get the rest. Like I was saying to in the meeting that I had earlier, that I don't think it's that hard. It's still such a lo-fi operation, but like I'm not finding it that hard to make something affordable to those taking, and also making like a pretty penny for myself, considering the amount. It's like 3 days work max. Max. Maybe 2. And then the teachers make like 3.5 for 8 hours work. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
But III in and of itself, I think it's important that the base of it is a week with me. I don't think that week I'll want delivered by anybody else. Maybe super far down the line there's like CPD like training where
this is what I was gonna
that
say.
is a thing that's happening.
Because also you're saying that now, but if you think of someone who's like how many have you done total of you doing it?
4 or 5? 5.
So let's say you get to 10 and there's someone there that's been doing it like 10 times, and like you've had conversations with, they share similar ideologies or whatever. It's like you might get to a point where you trust them enough to be like, okay, you could deliver this. You know what I mean? Even if it's like a smaller scale version.
Yeah, like if there was like a college that wanted it. Like I think there's versions of where that is a reality.
Because that could even be the thing. It's like the main thing is still you, but then you have little like, we have a 1 day intensive with blah, 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 who's, who has been trained in these exercises, or a 2 day thing. But then, you only ever get the week with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's different.
Yeah, I think there is room for it. I'm still getting my head around it, or like, because there is a lot of room for it to grow. I don't see it as like, when I look to the future, I don't see it as like a world takeover gonna make me my millions type.
Yeah, it's more the like artistic thing that you want to put into the world.
But there is money to be made in it, but I think going back to having an assistant, like there's only so much brain capacity you have when you're also the person that's like booking the studio.
Yeah.
And like sending the bank account deets to everybody and sending them directions to the venue and all that jazz. So I think once I've freed up some brain space, I'll be able to get back onto what the scope of it all looks like.
Yeah, because that part of it is really interesting, isn't it? Like, that's taken me a long time to find a point where I can enjoy doing that part of it. Like right now I'm building a catalogue of prints, originals and commissions. And it's like, only now is it fun because of the conversation, because of what I've done in the last year, specifically conversations that I've had with like investors that I've got now. And it's now it's fun because I get to think, the marketing side of it and communicating and finding out how I can get emailing lists and really engage with the people that want to engage with my work. That's cool. But it has taken a little while because like, I don't want to, for like years, I don't want to send bloody email. I don't want to have an admin day. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's time consuming.
I just want to paint. Yeah.
It's yeah.
And energy consuming.
It's time consuming. It's energy consuming. Yeah, I just don't want to be doing it. There is a time and a place where I do really enjoy admin, and a large part of my agency work is high admin stuff. And there is a time where I do just want to sit and like put things in columns. And like when I used to manage the accounts, I loved payment day because like it's just like mindless work a little bit, and like you print the thing, you staple the thing, you file the thing. Like I do enjoy that kind of work sometimes, but what the difficulty is with III is I'm doing that for maybe 2 months, and then the week comes where I have to deliver it. I'm like, fuck, I've got to find the energy somewhere now to actually do this.
Yeah.
I'm tired. And like doing the artists and having Annie from Zoo Nation and my dear friend produce it, like just being able to rock up and deliver it, or just being sent things to sign off. I was like, this is so the way. So the way,
like that would enable you to scale it in itself, because you spending less time on the producing of it allows you to be like, all right, I've got that week free, and that's all I need to do is just deliver it on that week, not the week.
And I'm also the best version of myself in that week, or the lead up is spent prepping for it, personally and for the people in the room, as opposed to still fannying about with the tasks of it all. Can you tell I'm overwhelmed? So yeah, that's a thing.
So we're not watching Summer Dance then,
I didn't hear it. I missed it.
I said so we're not watching Summer Dance, or that was.
Oh, imagine that. It's like no. It's Carnival weekend as well.
Carnival.
So wait, that's this
Carnival weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so out of
bank holiday weekend and that.
So that's the same as the big weekend of Summer Dance.
Well, it's this week.
This week, yeah.
It's already been locking and whacking have already
happened.
True. Or happened. It's been happening.
Yeah, whacking I think is happening right now.
Right now?
Right now.
Whacking
Should we just stop the pod and watch it? And then tomorrow is popping in the evening.
Popping.
And then I don't know when house is, Saturday maybe, and then Sunday is hip hop.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hip hop.
I'm definitely gonna watch. I was actually thinking about this. I wrote something about this on an Insta story. It's kind of like that other Insta story I made about what did I say that you said was good?
Oh yeah, about the bit of the advice.
Compliment me, please. What did I say that was so smart?
The business advice about your curating your social media.
Oh yeah, not necessarily to go too much into that, but that was something that I kind of thought was common knowledge. But then when I said it, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is really insightful," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Humble brag.
But humble brag. But I had another one of that sort of similar situation when I was talking about. So the workshop that I do, that if I haven't plugged enough on this podcast, is a structure and presentation thing. Hoping to do another one before the end of the year. Keep an eye out for that. But what I was saying was, I can't remember exactly what I wrote on my Insta story once, but I basically said if you want to look at a good example of structure and presentation in dance, like whackers are a great fucking example. Ooh. For me, whackers and crumpers and voguers, like those three. Vogue is slightly different because the format is not exactly the same. So they have their own culture and their own rules and their own like way of doing things. However, I would put those three in the same category. So like whacking, voguing and crumping, in the sense of they employ techniques of like structure and presentation that across the, like obviously there's individuals that do, but like poppers, hip hop dancers, house dancers, breakers don't really, for the most part, employ these things. I think when you get to the higher levels, they do. Still, there's debatability in that. That's not a word. But yeah, I just think it, and a lot of people, and all that to say, a lot of people like wrote me and was like, oh, really? What is it about whackers and blah, blah. And I was like, I thought everybody knew that that was the
Is
thing.
it?
But so that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up because the whacking is today. But I think if I mean, the whacking will have already happened when this comes out, but you should definitely go and watch the battles. I think from the lineup I saw, the whacking looks like it's going to be a good level, but I think it's built into the culture of the
I was just gonna say that.
style in a way that it isn't with popping. Like, say popping or hip hop, we're kind of, what's built into our style is like be technicians and get intricate and do all the stuff. What's built into like whacking and voguing, but definitely whacking, is the like performance element of it, and that's almost integral to the style. Like, you can be a great popper with shit performance. You can't really be a great, and I might be speaking out of turn here, but you can't really be a great whacker without having a great performance element, or you don't really rise to the top unless you do.
I feel like I've seen some
Really?
whacking clips where the impressive, like, there isn't much. I mean, but I guess even physically it is
Yeah.
presented in a way that is performative, even if, like, if you were doing it down,
exactly.
you're not really, I might be speaking out of turn, but I don't know how much you're doing it, and if part of the technique is that it's
Up and present.
Yeah.
I think, put it this way, it's like if I had a choice of like,
it's hot as shit.
it is really hot. Taking off my headphones helped because my ears are
Take off your shoes as well.
my ears were sweating. Yeah, get your toes out.
That's so much better.
If you get your toes out, then we can also put this pod on OnlyFans and make some money.
Is it?
I beg to fucking differ. Just stay on my feet at the minute. That is not a thing.
I wonder that, like, you know, for people that are into feet, is like, do they have to be good feet, or is just any
They
feet?
have to be good
Yeah,
feet.
I got all right feet.
Do you?
Yeah.
Should we make some money?
I can hit the game
I'm down.
market
Can I
for
take
sure,
10%?
man.
Because what the guy told me is I can't be scaling my business without. I can't just be giving away work. Do you know what I mean? If you're on my pod, putting your feet out and we're making money, I've got to take a
You can have
cut, do you
15
know what I mean?
as long as I don't have to do anything but show up and.
Oh
get the
yeah,
socks
I'll
off.
be your OnlyFans feet manager for 15%.
Done.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be rich,
Done.
guys.
Better than
Imagine the
artwork.
pod just ended there and that was the last pod, and we just
It just
became
snaps the
millionaires.
feet.
And a link in the description to your OnlyFans.
Oh, what was I saying? Yeah, I think so. Even if you're not like, when I say, like, say with the workshop and stuff, the stuff that I believe in is like, even if you're not performing in the way that might be the most obvious way of like smiling and happy and doing facials and making the audience laugh and all that kind of shit. That's all right. I think like, yo, it's so funny. I said this before, but it's like when I first started doing the pod, like you were in like the first 5 episodes.
Just doesn't
right?
give a fuck. Sorry, I'll see you later.
But I used to be so strict. Like
got
if
food.
a car went by outside, I would be like, should we start the pod again? And now it's like Abe's like going to the toilet, taking his thing off. Like we're all like, someone comes in, I'm like, no, we're not cutting it.
Hungry.
You got any more? What's that? No, I just want a little bit. Thanks.
Fucking hell, where was I?
Chocolate. Talking about presentation, and you basically just detailing the bits of whacking, like
Yeah.
the character. And,
So
yeah.
even if you're not, because when I think when people, and I'm the least person, and I think that's why I'm a great person to deliver this workshop, because I don't like
Thanks.
like playing up to people and making people laugh and that type of thing so much. I do in battles just because it's fun to insult the other person by doing that. But I think there's way, like what you were saying, you don't have to have all the facials going on in order to like make, and I think it's more about making something palatable for an audience. It's about, yeah. It's like, you might not be like playing up the thing. You might have a like deadpan face and blah, blah, but it's like, are you telling a story? Is there some sort of narrative arc to this where there's a beginning, it builds up, you draw people into what you're going to do. So if you go full out and you're doing all this complicated technique, you're used to all the complicated technique that you do, and you might be doing like variations and this and that. But what about like showing us the original version and then building on it, and then we see this evolution of a thing, and then when you get to the complicated version, we realize, oh, they're doing the double time reverse thing with an extra step in of that thing, because we've seen it build in that round, as opposed to just jumping in at 10 and then being like, oh, no one understands me. And this is what I think with popping a lot, where you get these people that go, do you want more?
No, it's me just being really engaged.
Oh, well, you get this thing where people do all this stuff, and then when we get bored or whatever, or it doesn't look good to us, it's like, oh, you don't understand the technique that they're doing or whatever. And it's like, do we not understand the technique, or did they not make it palatable for us? It's like,
Yes.
And I just to just put a disclaimer on this, I'm not talking about this in a way of winning battles. And none of this is about how battles should be judged or anything like that. I'm talking about performing for an audience, which should, I'll have it, which should be part of your, like, we're entertainers and we're performers regardless, whether we're in a battle or on a stage. If you can't entertain an audience, like, if I can't put you on a big stage in front of people that aren't dancers and you can entertain them, it's like you're missing a trick, because all of this stuff looks cool. Like popping, hip hop, breaking, all of it's cool. So if you can't build, draw in an audience, build up around, and especially I think those things work for battles, you know?
Yes. Can I repeat?
I'm nervous about putting the thing, because remember that comment that they left and they were like with half-eaten snacks on the table.
Who said that?
It was a particularly messy evening.
It was. It really hurt my feelings.
But I'd swear on this.
It made me insecure.
We swear at them.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, bro.
Oh no.
Dickhead. But check it. It's a bit of a tautology, which means just say the same stuff over and over again.
At home. They sell them in Tesco's.
Tortellini.
Yeah.
But I fully agree, man. Like, just to kind of gas up your class and your way of teaching on this, I completely agree. Like, because when you hear that stuff and when you see like whackers and you see their presentation, everything is 100%. And I don't mean just 100% energy, but I mean 100% belief in what they're doing. So whatever it is that they're portraying. So like Tali, when you were saying that there's maybe someone there hasn't got the really expressive facial features, but their body movement is still 100%, because every move they do, they don't question it. It's almost intuitive or impulsive for them to be able to move in a certain way. And it's just whatever I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do next. And I think when you practice that way of thinking, or that way of not thinking about what you're doing and just committing, you end up doing that more often than not, and you're able to commit to that in high pressure situations. And I think I put it very similar to playing with children. Like, there's this thing that
I've got a piggyback already gone.
Okay, sick. So like I realized this with my son. Like most of us have taught kids at some point within dance if you're a teacher, right? But I realize this more and more with my son, that the more I commit to something, the more engaged he is immediately, and I don't have to actually do anything. So if I want to kind of snap him out of a bad mood, or I want to just kind of engage him, immediately I do this. And he's on 100%. He's on. Is that whatever we're doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, whatever. What's going on? And the second, whatever I can say anything I want, and he'll be engaged. And he does it because I'm so committed and convincing in my output. And the best advice I've got for anything I've ever had came from breaks, ever. And it was really simple. And he just said, "If you believe it, I'll believe it." And it works with everything. When you're in a conversation with someone, when you're serving someone something, when you're performing, when you're teaching, when you're engaging in any way with a human being, if you believe what it is that you're doing, I'll believe it. Even if I don't like it. And there's so many things that you can do. Like whacking is just not my thing, man. But I have so much respect for them. And then when it's done, I mean, when something's done to a high level, it kind of is your thing, because if it's impressive, it's impressive.
Especially if you're this is going to sound douchey, but like if you're a connoisseur of like high level things.
Yes.
Like you have that, I think, is like you just appreciate things being done to a high level.
Yes.
Yeah. So even if you like, those sort of preferences will fall away, because you're like, I just like seeing anything. If someone was like, I can do this, I'm the best in the world at it, you'd be like, oh, all right, well, I'm interested now if you're the best in the world. And so it's like, you kind of get that like intrigue from, oh, this is the best thing, you know? Right.
And then to emphasize not being my preference, like I like popping on a low level.
Right, exactly.
Just because I like what popping can make and create and do. Same thing with drawing.
I don't know that I like popping on a low level.
But if it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, not like, it's not crap, but it's just not, it's beginner. Even if the beginner stuff is done well, I like it.
But so, not to tangent too much on that, but that's interesting, because I feel like I would prefer to watch, if I had to watch prelims or beginners, I would probably prefer to watch whacking and voguing than I would to watch like popping or hip hop. Because of those things. And this is, again, my preferences.
Cool.
But like,
yeah, go on, yeah. Because of veer back in on this.
One of the first things that you learn is like, let's say in whacking or and obviously there's a million different approaches to people teaching and stuff like that. But like, if you're a voguer or a whacker or whatever, let's say with voguing, because of the structure of the thing, and it's about performing in different ways and stuff like that, I know, again, maybe talking out of turn, but like probably in similar measures to the technique is the how do you sell the technique and how do you like whatever they're what do you call that, the parallels with like fashion and stuff like that, and their proximity to the fashion world. It's like you have to be able to like walk in a certain way and present yourself right, regardless of even before you've done anything. It's like you have to be able to stand. If you see a Voguer like stand at the end of the whatever the fucking thing is called where they walk down, before they've done anything, they look sick. Yeah, they look dope. And it's like, that's where I think, let's say in whacking, you're like, all right, you learn your first moves or whatever, but then you're taught immediately alongside that to perform it. And I think, say with like popping and hip hop, you're taught technique. You're taught Running Man and then this, or learn your hits and learn to drill it and make it strong. But then you're not taught how to like, I'm talking in a general sense, like it's not part of it to like perform it until you find yourself on fucking Bercy stage or Summer Dance and you're like, oh shit, how the fuck do I even, and I think this is where we see a lot of poppers and hip hop dancers fail on big stages, because if it's their first time on a big stage, and I haven't battled on a huge stage, but I've performed on big stages. And when you're in front of that many people, you suddenly realize you need to pull another level of dance out of you, because you're like when we did, I think it was Toronto, that was like 2,500 seats. And I have a very brief solo in that, but even the beginning of that choreo where it's a very, like we did Vice in Toronto for context, and the first thing that I do on stage is maybe in the first 5 minutes of the piece, and it's a very minimal movement type of thing, and you suddenly realize like, oh fuck me, like this isn't like doing it with a mirror there or like 5 people. It's like there's people in the 76th row or whatever that need to see this, or need to see this tiny little move, or my hits need to be seen there.
I mean, that's how I felt about like my thought process for Dance Your Style was like, how am I going about
like how are you going to scale what you do,
especially with it being at the Scoop, because Earth like inside contained, like that's going to suit a still patient approach, but like outside just like mass, not in the round as well, unless it is, who knows.
I don't think so. I think it's half.
But I was just like, what on earth am I going to do here? Because I know I do wild shit in performance spaces when I'm improvising anyway, and then like battle element as well, like it does, as someone that spends a lot of their time in like the root of it, just in a studio with mates, like I'm acutely aware of like the layers given the size of the audience or the context of the performative space. So yeah, I can definitely see how that is like, so what else am I gonna have to add to this to and get everyone on side?
I think you definitely see that like like if you ever watch someone, and obviously I'm drawing on like personal conversations I've had with people or whatever, but if you watch someone who's a battler and they are on a big stage and you know it's their first time on a big stage, if you watch them you can be like, oh yeah, I can fucking tell, like you've never battled on this. And a lot of people who are really really good battlers get their first time on a big stage and get fucking destroyed by the stage. Swallowed up before they've even had a response from the person. It's like you're drowning in the size of this audience, because like the really, like I think it's not to get too like artsy fartsy with this, but like it's a power that you can either use or get destroyed by. And it's like if you can get, if
There's
you've been
nothing artsy fartsy about
that.
Just a good point.
Thank you. If you are, let's say if you're at a big, let's say like Paradiso, or when it, because Summer Dance is there.
Where's Paradiso?
Amsterdam. That's where Summer Dance
the big.
is.
Sorry.
And there's a lot of people that I've spoken to have said that there's something about Paradiso that kind of brings out magic from dancers. Like they talk about it in a way of like, there's just something.
It's not been big.
It's not huge, is it? But the crowd is pretty packed in.
Yeah.
But I think this is why, and not to tangent again from our tangent, but with events, the venue makes such a fucking big difference to what happens, because it's not only about the size of the crowd, it's about how the venue is laid out even, and how the crowd, if they can all see and you're packed in but not too packed, and the floor's in the right place and the ceilings are at a high level, you can, that's what I think the magic is that people are talking about. It's the layout of the venue encourages that, like the dancers get that feedback.
Yes.
So like
everyone's close.
Yeah.
Except at the Scoop, there's a bit
gap,
right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Where's the Scoop?
Where
Firehouse was.
Ah, yes.
That's where Dance Your Style is going to be.
Ah.
So it's like if you have this gap between the
Flakani.
front and then it's like that and there's big space, it's a very different environment to draw people in, especially when there's other shit going on. A plane goes overhead and you're already losing people's attention.
Well, I feel like, so to finish your point earlier, I think places like the Scoop is a really good example of an environment where you can't rely on the environment or the setup, right? So where you need to employ these, not need to, it's useful to employ these methods or techniques that you teach.
If you want the crowd on your side.
If you want to
Which
make...
you need
yeah.
certain
Well, for Dance Your Style, especially,
But even if you want to be effective in the situation, right? Because if you're a good judge, what you're considering is your performance skill, right? Because so what we're talking about, we're talking about like the difference of my preferences for popping, or yours for maybe beginners for whacking, or even just what they do well. It's like a set of values. So you have a different set of values in dance. So it might be your technique or foundational movement or whatever, but then you've got other stuff that, like you said, the storytelling or composition or structure, whatever that section is called, and then you've got performance, right, or engagement, and then you've got spatial awareness / movement, so how well you cover the area, and you don't actually need to move everywhere to dominate it. You can, just by standing up straight, looking the crowd in the face, or looking at people directly and opening up yourself with your arms and your hands, that immediately says, this is my space. And there are these small tricks that seem almost cliche maybe, but things are cliche because they work. Or a bit, maybe even cheesy, but they do the job very well. So like it's stuff that I learned a lot doing. I mean, a lot of it was intuitive, but I learned a lot more doing theatre with promotion.
Yeah.
So Brooke would always set it up so that we all had a point in the show where we were the ones that were the focus for a bit. And that would be different depending on the show or where we were, but it was always an opportunity to test and see like, okay, cool, so how do I engage the audience here? And throughout different theatre performances, it was really helpful because you'd be performing to like 2,000 people that you can't see a lot of the time. Yep. And you just have to project yourself and you find these little ways. And I think having a workshop that teaches that stuff about projection, structure, storytelling, composition, and how to engage people, control the space is super useful because it's just things that, based on what you said about your story, people may not necessarily think about.
And I think the thing for me is, you know what you're saying about like this, like certain people are the right or wrong people to convey a I'm kind of paraphrasing what you said, but I think because it's never come naturally to me, like if I think about, let's say like whacking, like someone like Bagsy or someone like, I'm trying to think of other people, but like say someone like Bagsy, right? Not to say that he hasn't worked on his performance skills, of course he has, but he's a very smiley, expressive person anyway, right?
And he's big.
He's very tall. He's got extension. So by definition, and Monster Pop is maybe another example, right? Monster just walks in a room and he gets your attention. So if he stands on the thing, it's like, oh, this dude's like 6'5" or whatever. Bagsy, again, huge, big, long, big smiley face. It's like, I already want to look at you. You're taking up my thing. Now, I think the thing that I had to learn was like, how do I get that reaction being me? I'm like, I'm sure I don't really have that initial snap. And I think a lot of people don't. Like the average is to not have that, like, you know, if you're in a room full of people, one person, it's hard for them to draw your attention. But there are ways that you can act or do things. It's like I often talk about it in the sense of like a conversation where it's like, if you're in a conversation with a bunch of people, you might not, it makes a difference, huh? You might not know the person, let's say if you're with a group of strangers, but there's always some people who command more attention in a conversation. Like you're talking over dinner and someone goes, I've got a point. And everyone just goes, oh really, what is it? Or they, you know, and then there's some people, and I happen to fall into this sometimes, but they're so like talkative and stuff, you kind of just zone out from what they're saying. Or like they start talking and you're like, all right, but shush. Like either they interrupt or they jump over someone or they do certain things, or let's say, again, this is something I do, like they start what they're saying, but then they're not ready to start. They get the attention.
Yes,
they're like, hey, so guys, I have a point because, wait, so, but, and I'm like, I'm already done with what you're trying to say because you commanded my attention for nothing. And dancers do that, I think. They start, but they're not ready to start. And then some people will, and Vogers are fucking fantastic at this, I think. And Crumpers are the even better example. They will take the space and it's like, oh, I'm ready to take this space. And every little movement they do, they could just like adjust their trousers or something. And you're like, yeah, I'm in. Oh,
Yeah.
what did you adjust your trousers for? And then they like take off their hat and put it back. And you're like, oh shit, they took their hat off. And it's like, you're in and they know that because they're like, I took this space because I'm ready. And even if I'm going to do nothing, I took the space to do nothing on purpose. Not just like, oh, I just happened. It was just my turn. So I went. It was like, I command this space and now everything is leading up to the end of my round or whatever the high point of the round is. And it's all building to that point where they do the thing and you're like, oh, that was the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I would say like on 2 points on that, like in terms of going to do nothing on purpose or having a good structure or a storytelling thing, that doesn't need to be planned.
No.
Sometimes you can intuit that thing, and a story doesn't necessarily mean here's my character, here's this ball, and here's the journey of the ball, and there's the ball gone, or I'm doing something or whatever.
Yeah.
It can just be a good succession of movements that follow well after each other, right? So you can structure your round well and tell a story just through movement and even levels of performance and presentation. So it doesn't need to be anything on the nose. And I was
just going to back up what you're saying.
Yeah, go on.
Listen to rap in another language. Good rap. So if you listen to like French rap, you might not understand what they're saying.
Never.
But the story of what they're saying is structured and presented well, so you're like, you can almost grasp what they're saying.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like in English you might be like, yeah, I'm a guy, I have pants on, and you're like, oh, this is a story about a guy with pants on. But like in French you might be like, and you're like, oh, it's a thing. And then he's saying another thing, and then now he's angry, and now he's calm, and now he's building up to the thing that now he's done. And it's like, this is how you can, even I don't have to understand house. Like I don't have to understand house to be able to watch Capella. I don't need to understand Vogue to be able to watch some of the Voguers that I've seen. And it's like, good presentation, I think, will override your understanding of technique. And I think this is where you can marry two worlds, where you can impress the judges and win. And a lot of the top level dancers do this, where they can impress the judges and they can win and get the crowd who don't know anything about what they're talking about to care. And if you look at the people who have won Dance Your Style,
Go on.
a lot of them are actually good dancers. If you know what I mean. Then they're actually like proficient in the technique that they're doing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I was going to say, why wouldn't they be?
Well, because it's judged by the crowd, and it's not necessarily, none of this has to be judges that know what they're talking about. But the people that rise to the top still have a level of technique. You would think, oh, if it's the crowd, anyone entertaining could win, even if they're shit.
I think on the surface, yes, you could think that. But I think if you were to break down the idea of performance like you would technique, I think you can understand that there are different components of performance, just like there are technique. So there isn't a thing to just pop well.
Yeah.
It's about posture. It's about what moves are following on from one to another. It's about how strong you're hitting, or how subtly you're hitting, or techniques you're using or employing, or how you're engaging with the music to do that technique. And performance has the same thing. Yeah. Just like your rap analogy, right? So like listening to a different language, you can tell when someone has good cadence, right, or rhythm. So if you don't understand English yet, you listen to Eminem, da 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 da. It's like it makes sense.
It sounds pleasant even if you don't understand the content.
Yes, but you understand that Snoop just has a cool voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You understand that these things are relevant, even if you don't understand what it is that they're saying. And that's why you can look at someone who does like house or whacking or whatever, and we can understand, that person has good presentation. I don't understand what's happening or what's about to happen. All I understand is that it makes sense. Nothing seems from left field. Everything seems to be well presented. They seem to be taking me on a nice journey. They're giving me the right energy at the right times. Like they're not kind of doing subtle stuff and then kind of like yelling at everyone and spitting on the floor or some shit. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Like everything makes sense. And I think if you like you do again in your workshops, if you break down these components of performance, you can
What?
God, you just make me laugh. If you break down these components of if you break down these components of performance, like you can understand these on a fairly simple level. So it's like, it's stuff that I believe it's best when you intuit, right? So when it's like, I think when you're at your best, usually when you do your thinking, we have as a saying in art, you do your thinking on the palette. Right, so you do all your mixing your colors, you plan where it's all going to go, so that when you paint, you're just moving paint around, and you can just do whatever it is that you want to do, and not like kind of rehash the image or whatever, and keep changing your ideas. And I think within dance, you do your thinking on the palette, or in training, or in practice, or whatever. So when it comes to performance, you don't think, oh, I need to think of something now in the next 30 seconds that's going to make me way better than I am. And
that's my mistake. I do that.
Which is probably, like, don't get me wrong, it can happen. And it's happened to me in battle sometimes where I'll do something and everyone goes nuts. And I think, well, that's fucking lucky, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Like, but it doesn't, it's not a thing you should absolutely rely on ever. And like, I believe you get your best kind of responses when you just relax. It's a bit of a paradox to try and relax, but you can just allow yourself to play in that situation like you would with a child. Full circle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that
Very
with the
good.
Come on.
come out.
I'm a talker.
The child thing I was going to say is that I think that's a really good way of looking at audience retention, I think is the right word. Like, even if you're choreographing, I don't know if you would agree on the choreography side, but like choreographing, battling, performing, whatever, is like, if you think of the audience as like kids who are going to have a short attention span, and you need to keep their attention for 10, 30 minutes, an hour, or even if it's 1 minute in a battle, it's like, how are you going to do that using the good technique, if that makes sense? It's like, so like you said about like, if you want your kid to like pay attention, you do something like sudden and that like snaps the attention. But we can take that and pull it into a battle, because what a lot of b-boys will do is start their round with a big move. So they'll jump, like in a crew battle, someone will jump in with a flip and blah, blah. Then they'll stand up. Oh, okay, you're paying attention? Now let me start my top rock, and then they'll go into it. And it's like, you can employ that, b-boys use it. And this is something that, you know, I've seen whackers use it, I've seen voguers use it. Crumpers less so. I feel like they use the opposite. But these are things that it's like, it's not about dance really. It's not about performance. It's about attention retention.
Attention retention. I like that.
It's like if I'm trying to get these people to pay attention, all right, what's the first thing I'm doing? And I feel like why the kids analogy is a good thing, because it's our most like primal level without like any intelligence being built on it yet. It's like, you know, sometimes you go to the theater and you're like, I'm going to pay attention because I've paid for this. I'm going to pay attention because I want to be polite. Kids don't give a shit. So how do you keep a kid entertained? It's like, look at me. And then you go, oh, okay, cool. I've done. So now you have to keep their attention. So how do you keep their attention? You draw them in with a story. Well, this is a bottle. Where's the bottle going? It's going over here. And the kid's like, okay, because they want the payoff. And that's like a primal thing. And I think it's the same with battles. It's like, I want you to feel like, first of all, grab my attention somehow. And then it's like, where is this story leading me? And then you have to pay it off. Otherwise, I'm going to feel dissatisfied. And it's, I think the same with maybe movies or whatever. But it's like, you have the payoff where, oh, that was the thing. That's why I paid attention for this whole 1 minute round, was to see you build to that section there, which was fire. And now you finish. And I'm like, oh, that felt satisfying. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And I think the Crumpers, why I say they do the opposite, is like, they don't come in with this, like, watch me. They come in with it's almost like, you know, the boss in a meeting where it's like everybody's chatting, no, I think this. And then the mafia boss just goes, all right, listen. And everyone goes,
yeah.
And it's like, they're so, I feel like Tali has this effect sometimes where it's like, you're so minimal with your words. When you do choose to speak, we're going to listen, because I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to miss anything. Like, I know you're not going to repeat stuff. I know you're not going to. So, like, there's some Crumpers where they'll just, like, walk into the space and stand still. And it's like, I haven't done shit, but I'm like, you're so confident with your I haven't done shit that I'm like, well, let me watch, because where is this going to go? And it's like...
Oh, I do want to say one last thing, though. So on that, then, I would say that there's no particular right way to do it.
Agreed.
Right? There are better ways to do the thing that you want to do, for example. So let's say if you're... you ever seen the film Hitch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says the line that he's talking to someone, said, look, if you're shy, be shy. If you're outgoing, be outgoing, right? Like, use what you have.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing can be applied in performance and conversation with people, right? So if you are a shy person or you don't like to move a lot, then use that. But there are ways to improve that, just like there are ways to be energetic. So someone like Kofi has high energy, right? And he uses that really well with athleticism, moving around the stage.
Because he has that as a person already.
Yes, like he's high energy as a person and he understands those things, right? But there's someone, I'm trying to think, like maybe Alex the Cage.
Yeah, or holistic.
Yeah. Any one of these dancers where they're not the person to go in a room and demand attention. But like you said, like with Tali, whenever you're in a room, you think, oh, okay, cool. Whenever they do talk, I want to listen. And they know when to time their entrance. They know when to time their talking. They know what to say when. They know how much to give. And these things obviously come with practice. But like these tools that you can use for your performance are just that. They are tools.
Exactly.
Yeah, they are just that. It's not a prescriptive thing.
No. And it's like, it really is just like tools that you can pick and choose how and when to use. But if you're not aware that these tools exist, you're never gonna. It's like if you don't understand it's really similar to public speaking. I find. Yeah. It's like there's no one way to do public speaking, and there's no one thing you should talk about when doing public speaking. But there are techniques of like that you can pick and choose from of how to keep people's attention. Do you like tell a joke here and there? Do you start with a fact and then make people go, oh, what's that about? You know what I mean? It's like,
Jesus.
Why are they saying that? And then you circle back around. It's the same with anything storytelling, I find.
Can I be a marketer? Can I gas up your classes? Can I do that with II as well? Come on, hire me.
Be my
Hire you for
marketer.
what?
Yeah, I'll just tell people how sick it is, and I'll break it down on why it's so
I
sick.
would hope that you
Please
do
do.
that anyway, but
Yeah, exactly. You have done. Whenever I tag you in Orion's belt, you give like a little added.
true.
I loved it,
flavour on
man.
it. So did I.
That was amazing. That was such an amazing class.
Yeah.
I hadn't danced for 5 months before that class.
that was fun.
That was amazing.
We had such a like existential
Oh my
chat
God.
afterwards. Like
In
we
King's
sat for
Cross,
3
yeah.
hours
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
So what should we do with our lives?
it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like I felt,
It was very opening.
yeah, like refreshed after that. You know, like when you have a shower after 3 days. But like I felt like I had a shower after 5 months. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like
I can see it all in front of me.
it was amazing. Ryan's belt was great.
I happen to know, speaking of summer dance, I happen to know that there may or may not be some UK people out there.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, do it.
I don't know exactly who's going. I've just heard talk of some UK travels happening.
I know some people that are going.
Good, do you? Go on.
Yeah. I know
Or entering. Or
entering, yeah. So Marvel, Nick is going. Ooh. Yeah. Sean's going.
I don't know if this is going to be out before it happens, but maybe.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't it Saturday?
You can do it.
Friday.
No, it's tomorrow.
Poppins tomorrow.
Yeah.
tomorrow, yeah.
Ah, maybe
At
not.
5:30. I'll do my best. I'll try and
Taiwo's
get it out
going.
before that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Pegasus as well is going.
Dylan's there.
Dylan's
Is
there.
it? Bigger. I saw him pop at Firehouse thing. He's nice.
Nice.
I
I
honestly
wouldn't know contextually. I think he's good, but I'm not like
No,
popping specialist to really know.
It's like, I tell you what, like, from
He's going to turn this into an NFT.
fuck, that's sick. Imagine from someone who I feel like I've got quite good discernment when it comes to dance, and even better when it comes to popping. Like my intuitive reaction when I see someone dance is, how could I beat them? Right. So I'm constantly looking to pick apart what it is that they've done well, why they've done it well, and what they've done poorly or what they're missing.
Yeah.
And I feel like he covers his gaps really well, like really, really well. Because when I watched him dance, he didn't demonstrate things that I would expect a popper to demonstrate, right? Like certain types of shapes or vocabulary, right? Even with certain types of posture as well. And the fact that he didn't, for me, was impressive, because it felt like I was waiting for him to do it and then waiting for him to do it not as well as the other stuff that he did. But the stuff that he presented was stuff that it was like he knew he could do well. And it was there were some effects in there that were just good popping effects. Then it was just good dance presentation, and it was very well structured as well. And I thought, that's good. There were no gaps in that. But the fact that, and I'm thinking, all right, if I'm beating him, I'm gonna push him into an area where I can see if he left out things because he's bad at them,
Right.
or if he's waiting to show it later on. And I reckon it's the former. I reckon he's not as good at certain things and he's leaving them out on purpose. And high level poppers, like I think there are certain poppers that do that, and I think it's a very clever thing to do. But it was interesting because I hadn't ever seen him pop before, or that I remember. Maybe a bit of Sean's class, like or some clips, whatever. And it was really impressive. I thought it was really good.
I think he could create a really unique style for himself if he doesn't have it eroded by the pressures of
Popping.
Ooh. What you mean?
Because like
Fundamental.
I think people who have like a pre-existing style and then come into popping and have this pressure of like, no, but you're not doing blah, blah, or whatever the thing is, can kind of, because it's easier to feel accepted if you get rid of the weird shit and do the stuff that everyone accepts as popping, then it's easy for people to feel that pressure from, even if it's not from anyone of note, it could just be for some random low-level poppers that are like, oh, you should really do more of this thing. And then they're like, oh, well, maybe people are going to like me more if I do that.
Yeah,
I already enjoyed
popping
the
some max, bro. We got waves, robot, backslides, illusions, performance.
Me and Lewis booked, we're going to Norway.
All right. Where was my invite?
Do you want to come to Norway?
No, not now. And I had to ask. You don't invite yourself into
yesterday.
someone else's house, you maniac.
My house is not Norway.
Well, neither is mine.
Oh. Can I come to Norway? What? Yeah, we're going to Soul Sessions.
Is it Soul Session? When is that?
Soul Sessions.
Or in Norwegian, Soul Session?
Is that Norwegian language?
That's spot on.
Sick.
I convinced someone when I was doing a cruise over in Norway and Germany. I convinced a Norwegian I could speak Norwegian. She would just throw words at me and I would just say it, what I thought it was. Yeah, the killer one was fantastic. I said fantastisk.
And that's what it is?
Right.
Yeah. Or she said it. Maybe she was just like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about, so I could just say yes, and he thinks he speaks.
That's hilarious if you thought you were pranking her, but she was pranking you. Like, I'm going to tell him he's getting all these words right, and he's going to say on a podcast in 3 years that he can speak Norwegian.
That's hilarious.
And she's listening now like, yes, it paid off.
Moron. Solar session. Yeah, when is it? November?
October.
Oh, it's close. Stab in the dark.
Speak Norwegian.
Is it? So what is it? Popping?
There's everything. Pop-in, hip-hop,
Not going to watch the hip hop.
house. I don't know. Depends who's there.
Ooh, are you going to battle in it though? Just have
I
a go.
might do hip-hop just for shit.
Oh,
I was just
no.
saying all that. I was talking about it and I was like, well, am I really going to fly all the way to Norway and not into hip-hop as well? I might as fucking...
Oh, who's judging them? Talk to us.
I think Stretch is judging.
Stretch.
Rashad. I really like Rashad's pop-in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you like about it?
Style-wise. I don't know. It's just fucking cool. And I think this is something I
Party
tell
time.
beginners a lot, but it's like, I think people that do stuff that fit your body type.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think like even the way Rashad like dresses and the way, even that I think he's taller than me and a bit bigger.
He understands his physiology well.
And his physiology fits mine.
Ooh.
Like if I watch someone like Sean,
Sexy.
the stuff that looks good on Sean doesn't look good on me because
Absolutely.
we look different.
Yeah.
But I think watching Rashad, I'm like, oh, it really like makes me feel like, oh fuck, I like that vibe and the way he moves and stuff. I think it's like it inspires me to kind of create based on my physiology as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like a big turn on for me in dance, right?
Yeah.
When people without perfect physiologies understand theirs really well.
Yeah.
So like, you got people like in popping, right? So Alex the Cage is one of them in hip hop. Like Victor is one in breaking.
Yeah.
Green Tech is another one in popping.
Yeah.
And you've got people maybe a P lock in. I'm trying to think. Maybe Frankie in house.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like these people where there's just their body is so well proportioned that they don't have to do much to look really good.
That's so true.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can go what I mean by this is that they're so symmetrical that they can push their body in asymmetrical shapes so far and it still looks nice because their body is so well proportioned. But then you got people that have kind of odd proportions that it can look really weird if they don't understand it well, right? So like a really obvious one would be maybe Salah in popping, like globally, Junior in breaking, maybe
even if Slim Boogie danced in a different way than he did, it might look awkward.
Slim
but he's
Boogie-
so good at like tailoring his movement to how he looks.
right, exactly. And there are examples of this, right? Like for me, the perfect one is Camilla. Like her physiology is so particular and she understands it so well that every move she does works. Let me tell you about this idea I had. Check this. So I had this idea, right?
Lee, just quickly before you say it, can you tell me about an idea that you had recently?
Okay, yeah, I'll tell you about it now.
Cool, thanks.
Right, check this, right? So I feel like Tali does this really well, actually, right? So I feel like
trying to bring me in. Appreciate you.
no, really, like, it's like, and it'll make sense, right?
What do you think about Lee's idea?
What do you think about it? Is it great?
Let's hear it. Let's
All
go.
right, so my idea is that in I think Kev calls this quality of movement. I don't, but I understand why he does, right? Oh, no, foundations. I call it quality of movement, right? So quality of movement for me is understanding your move, the move you're doing, and your physiology and how well they fit together, right? So I feel as though that in popping, there is a certain way, let's just use popping as an example, there is a certain way that you can do any given move, right? And if we think of it like a language, there's a certain way that you can say any given word, right? Water, 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 right? But if you say wala, it doesn't make sense, right? We don't really understand what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that is that you can kind of push that word
Until it's not that word anymore.
until it's not that word anymore. But certain people with certain accents can push that word a little further than others in certain directions, right? Which is why some people can't get away with certain accents or whatever, right? And I feel like that's the same in popping. And your accent in popping for me or in dance is your posture. Okay, so your posture is built around your physiology. So if I have a move, for example, when I'm doing, let's say a toy man or a twister flex, for example, or tutting, where it's all about right angles. Depending on your body, you have a range in which you can push that move for it to look good. And just like on a game, when you have like a meter where it's kind of red on the outside, it gets yellow and then green in the middle, that green bit can be bigger or smaller depending on your move and the physiology itself. Your physiology, and the move itself, right? And I feel like if you understand your physiology really well, you can hit that green every single time. And some people with better physiologies or more symmetrical physiologies, like Green Tech, Victor, whoever, they have a wider green base immediately. So they have to try less to be able to make the move look neat. And I feel like with you, what you do really well is you hit that green. So you hit really asymmetrical shapes and really unusual or unorthodox positions, but you hit them in the right way every time. And I feel like Camilla does that as well. Slim Boogie does that as well. And there are some people that don't do that.
And the outside would be that we feel like it looks awkward.
Yes, and that.
So
And
when you hit the green, it means that it connects with us, that it feels like it fits your body shape.
yes,
Right.
and that thing for me can be really translated for language as well. It's like, do you know when you're speaking to someone, you're trying to learn a language, or you're trying to say something in another language to a native speaker, and you believe you're saying it right. I had this yesterday. I was speaking to someone, a German girl, and I was saying the name Friedrich Nietzsche is a German philosopher. And I was saying Friedrich Nietzsche. It's like a really unusual name. And she goes, I don't know, wait.
Yeah, who are you?
So I looked it up, I showed it to her. She goes, oh, Nietzsche.
Yeah, and you're
I'm
like,
like,
pretty. Bro, I've had that almost every time I've been in Paris. I like say something and they're like, I don't know what you're saying. And then they say it and I'm like,
You did.
That's what I said.
And I'm like, you couldn't interpret, like,
Yeah.
come on, man. But it's that thing for them, you're just not hitting it right for them to be able to appreciate your accent and the word itself. And for me, that's the same in dance. That's the idea I have.
It's like, I think when people do like,
That's
let's
clever,
say, like,
innit?
Yeah,
beginners
very
do like
good.
waves or something.
Very good.
And
I'm
they're
standing
like,
up again.
oh, you're doing waves, but we're like, yeah, you're doing waves, but it's not.
Yes,
waves. Like,
with
you're not
anything.
doing it.
Really anything. And it can be anything. That's the end of my ideas. That's all I have to say.
I like it. I like how deeply you go into these things.
It was good, innit? Don't you think that's a good idea?
Do you think?
Donate to the Capsule if you
So
do.
good.
The Capsule's name is
Struggling
Lee.
to concentrate. It's so
It
hot.
is so hot in here. So all that to say, we're not watching. Are we
That's
watching
so
Summer Dance?
Yeah, that's
Are
so
we watching
English to be
Summer
like,
Dance?
should you go now? Do you always like when you're trying to get a guest out? You're like,
No, I'm not. I'm being a bit Abe, actually, I think. I'm
Is
going
it?
rogue.
She's going rogue.
is she going
This is a
rogue?
crazy position to do the point. You should do the rest of the pod.
I'm going to stand like this a little
Is
bit.
it cooler like that?
It's a little bit cooler. It's giving my mental state, because like I'm half out.
You're like, you need to physicalize the fact that you're half out. of
Yeah,
this.
for everyone.
We've been going for longer than I thought.
Is
No,
it?
it's not been as long as I thought it had. I stood up to look at the time.
What time has it been?
How long has it been?
Hour and 25.
Whoa!
Oh, that's all right. We can finish soon. So, are we watching something else or not?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. You want to? Oh, you messaged me about that. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, let's watch it.
I did want to watch The Working today, but we're here. So I'm
It's
gonna
quite
watch
wild. Like, it's free, isn't it? Live stream.
it. No, so
Oh, is it
well,
not?
it's free, which I think is smart. It's free up until the judges thing, and then because you know the three judges have to battle the three, and then they go to a thing, and then they bring someone back,
And then you have to
blah, blah,
pay.
blah.
How much do you have to pay?
I think €5 to watch.
Oh, that's not
or
bad.
you can watch the
Good.
whole thing for €5, and you can vote. So they do an audience vote, and if they get to a tie, They do which is everybody
sick.
in the room plus everybody online. So you can click who you voted for and it counts towards
Wow.
the thing.
That's smart.
sick.
I was hoping that, like, don't want to profiteer, but also, like, come on, like, one of the world's biggest battles to not be making money from it would be.
That's very clever.
Make all the money. I will pay. I would pay more.
Like, we're
than
invested.
Because I think
I like the fact that you can you get something out of your money. Like, you actually contribute to. That's very good, and it's so simple. That's brilliant. Well done,
bro. I think, and this is the thing where
well done, Sadaf.
I think it's like, it's annoying, like when Just Taboo did it, where they don't have a live stream, but then there's nothing. There's no live stream. You have to either come or not see it. And it's like, it's not about me wanting something, because I think, you know, I've spoken about this before on the pod, and I think some people's worry is if you put a live stream, less people are going to come to the thing because they can watch it online. And it's like, then make us pay for it. Like, if that's your issue, you can subsidize some of those ticket sales that you might lose, which I don't think is going to be the case, by making us pay for online. And it's like, it's not like I'm trying to cheap out and just watch it for free. I'll pay €10 to watch.
Whoa, chill. We'll pay five.
No,
We'll
but
pay
I'm
saying,
five.
I would pay more to watch the entirety of Just Taboo from start to finish in a good quality live stream. The same as I would, you know, a lot of these things. I pay for fucking Netflix or whatever. It's like, I would pay to watch these things. But if that's what you need to do, if you need to charge us €5 or whatever
To make it good.
and to make us have a live stream, it's like, fuck yeah, do it, man. Because I can't afford to fly to Summer Dance right now and stay for a whole week, but I can't afford to pay you €5, even if it's €5 for every live stream. I'd pay that.
Word.
And if you've got 500 people across the world, 1,000 people across the world paying that, you're going to make some decent money off just throwing the thing online that you were already going to put on YouTube anyway. Why not?
Yeah,
man?
I'm on it. I'm on it.
So yeah, more live streams. I'm going to be doing some live streams. I can't announce it yet because it's not 100% confirmed, but I'm going to be doing my live stream e-hosting thing again, I think, at an event.
Which event?
In it, I
can't announce it because it's not.
Okay.
I want to know.
confirmed,
Can you
but
tell
it's
us after
pretty
the
much
pod?
Yeah.
Ha.
Anything?
Secret.
Oh, we're finishing off now. Culture crossovers this weekend.
What's that? Explain it.
It's
That's
about-
doing really, it's like really going for it with the
Yeah.
additions, hey?
I'm gonna go. You coming?
I've not been, no, I did pop in. Maybe. Dense mind.
Saturday night at Peckham Levels, I believe.
Peckham Levels.
It's like a battle to
Love
like
Peckham
Lewis
Levels.
is DJing.
Lewis is DJing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's going to be
Jeez.
like I think UK music and stuff. There's a one-on-one and
I'm so
2v2.
happy. Lewis is
Fun.
very good.
Yeah, I think Lewis is like I mean, I don't want to say he's underrated because I hate the word underrated anyway. But also he's underrated for a reason.
You hate
'cause
a word.
Yeah, because it's dumb.
What?
The word
Oh, you
underrated.
hate the
And
word.
you hate the word underrated.
I hate people using the word underrated
You hate people using it.
because I think it's bullshit. 95% of the time it's bullshit. You're underrated because you haven't done
That
something.
feels like a made-up statistic.
Yes. Of course it's made up.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night. Anyway, I think Lewis could be a good DJ when he gets himself out there and does more. The reason he's not being hired across the
Better.
board is because people don't know about him. So to say he's underrated would be bullshit. But yeah, I think Lewis will be a very good battle DJ. He really, and he's a good DJ.
What does
so he knows what
underrated
he's
mean?
doing. Means not rated to as much as you think someone should be rated.
So it's
which is
subjective.
Subjective, exactly.
You probably quantify that in some way. Let's have a look. Underrated, rated or evaluated too low, underestimated or undervalued.
Which in an art form is like, well, you're undervalued because, like, if you're like, oh, you're an underrated painter, it's like, well, what does underrated mean? It's like you aren't rated as highly as you should be. Well, you should be rated higher because you're good.
I understand the problem, yes.
Yeah, but you're not rated because you haven't got yourself out to enough places to be rated that high. So
The goalposts
Yeah.
are like.
yeah,
If you were as good as people think you are, you'd be better. Like we would think you were better.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Or it's like people don't rate you not based on your skill, but they just don't rate. It's like, oh, this person that I know down the road is the best hip hop dancer in the world. He's underrated. It's like, well, okay, he's only the best hip hop dancer when he enters and people know, and he's done the work to be the best hip hop dancer in the world.
Makes complete sense. You're right.
Yeah.
It is a stupid word.
Thanks. Appreciate you jumping on my back there.
I'm bang on it.
Culture crossovers this weekend. And then what else? Yeah, Hip Hop Forever live stream I'll probably watch.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Get with it.
Dance Your Style next week.
Dance Your
also,
Style.
Light Fest next week.
Light Fest.
Same day, so sorry, you got to pick a day. Pick an event.
Where are both?
Light Fest is in Swindon.
Swindon.
It's the last chance to get points for the Kingdoms League.
If I entered and won, could I win the whole thing?
No.
Yeah. Where can I place in the top? Can I get money?
So. I haven't got my phone, but I don't think so.
So if I go and win, I can't get anything.
Check it.
How do you check it?
Go on the Kingdoms League Insta and see what the points are.
All right.
Are you on there? Do you have points?
He hasn't entered any.
I haven't entered about 5 years.
Oh.
Everyone's lucky.
That might be even generous.
Oh no, I saw a
Generous.
judges showcase.
Like it might be more than 5 years.
Is it?
When was the last time you entered a battle?
KOD.
Gosh.
Oh yeah, go to the end.
Osh, kosh, bagosh.
How much you get for winning?
So Silk's on 36 points. You get 10 points for winning.
You get 10 points for winning. So
Yeah.
who's got under 10? So Tigran is in 9th place.
With how many?
9.
So you could be better than Lewis in the Kingdoms League.
Yeah.
That would piss him off so much.
If everyone 9th and under doesn't participate and I go and win,
Yeah.
I could get 10 points and get that's hilarious.
So you wouldn't be able to place in the top 8? Has the 8th person got?
No, you take over that person, so I'd be 9th.
Oh, you'd be 9th. That would be hilarious.
Wouldn't that
if
be
you
really
took over
funny?
Lewis in one battle.
Wouldn't that be really fun?
Please do it.
You know what would be sick? I want to enter in as double name. Can I do that? Is there any rule against that in battles where I could just enter as 2 names and battle myself?
Technically, there.
Imagine you get to the finals and you
is.
battle yourself.
There's a lot of things that there's no rules against in battles, and it's like no one's ever.
There's a lot of things there's no rules against, like locking up people's bikes.
What?
What?
Well, that's been the capsule, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It's very warm in this room, but massive shout out to East London Dance for hosting us. We've got a few more weeks here. We may or may not have to bring a fan next time. Thanks to you guys for being here.
In the corner. You guys are great.
A fan?
No? All right. Tough crowd.
You're the tough crowd.
Yeah, I'm tough crowd.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks to
Laters.
East London Dance for hosting us. Thanks to Tali and Lee for being here. Check out Culture Crossover this week. Check out next week Dance Your Style and Light Fest, which has obviously the Light Feet battles. Light Feet battles are also dope. Very good performances. And yes, we need like a sign off. What's the thing from Anchorman that they say? Isn't there like a sign off?
100% of the lamps.
Oh, okay. Bye, guys.